Shortly before his death, Steve Jobs shared his approach to engagement and performance with a graduating class at Stanford. He said to them, "Every day for the last 30 years, I've looked myself in the mirror and asked, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I have to do today?" He went on to say that whenever the answer was no for too many days in a row, he knew he had to make a change. Take a second and think about how you would have answered Jobs' question this morning. In other words, if today, literally today, were the last day of your life, would you want to do what you had to do today? My answer, yes. And my hope is that yours is too. But sadly, the probability that both you and I say yes is not very high. You see, I view this question as the perfect proxy for employee engagement. And those numbers don't give me much confidence. In fact, in the latest Gallup survey, just 13% worldwide are engaged. Just 13% want to do what they have to do. And the crazy thing, frankly, the sad thing, these numbers have barely budged in about 15 years. Ever since Gallup first started tracking this metric, the numbers have barely moved. How can that be? How can it be? We've known about this problem. We've prioritized the problem. We've thrown money at the problem. We got offices with ping pong tables and nap pods, 401k matching and wellness programs. How can it be that engagement is flat? How can it be that we're not all jumping out of bed in the morning, energized and excited to do the work that we have to do? The fact is, our engagement strategy is broken, fatally flawed. All of our great ideas and ambitions, they're not creating the kind of lasting change we both want and need. The good news? I've recently discovered where and how we went wrong and what we need to do to fix it. But before I share that, let's talk about why it matters. First, it matters to you as a business leader because this is how you win. You want to spend less time working in the business and more time working on it? You want to attract and retain men and women who bring energy, creativity, and accountability to their work? Do you want your business to grow and thrive? Of course you do. Then solve this problem. Because nothing impacts organizational performance more than a highly engaged workforce. Second, this matters because an engaged world is a better world. My view, when more men and women wake up every day energized and excited about the work they do and the life they live, we have happier moms and dads, stronger families, and healthier communities. More little girls that look like this. Let's solve this problem because it matters to you and because it matters to us. All right, let's talk about how we do it. First, we're going to stop treating people like puppets. We send out these surveys searching for the strings we can pull to get people to work harder and care more. We ask questions like, do you know what's expected of you at work? To measure engagement in the moment. But is simply knowing what's expected of you likely to make you want to do it more? Not necessarily. We got to change the narrative. Stop asking, are you engaged? And start asking, did you do your best to be engaged? We got to shift responsibility from the center to the front line because engagement begins and ends, succeeds or fails with the individual. To paraphrase my man Jack Kennedy, we got to stop treating people like customers. What can I do for you? And start treating them like partners. What can we do together? Hey, I like free lunches and flex time as much as anyone. But let's be clear. These and other perks make people more comfortable, not more engaged. They make people less likely to leave, not more likely to stay and bring their best self to work each and every day. My aha moment in all this, the moment when I realized why and how we're getting engagement wrong, occurred at a talk I was giving to the alumni of Georgetown. At the start of the session on professional development, I asked a seemingly simple question. Do you have a plan? In other words, do you know where you are personally and professionally, where you want to go, and how you're going to get there? Now, these are Georgetown grads, right? They're super smart, they're driven, they have access to resources that 99% of the world would kill to have access to. I honestly thought this question was rhetorical, an obvious yes. And then I got the data. 200 people in the room, only 15% had a plan, 15%. At first it made me sad, like Dawson here, and then it made me curious. So I started asking this question all the time. Do you have a plan? At companies and colleges around the country. And as it turns out, the Georgetown numbers weren't too far off. In any given audience, fewer than 25% typically have a plan. Fewer than 1 in 4 have a clear idea of how they're going to get from A to B. Now, I've currently got a toddler in the house, so I watch a lot of Disney. As such, I couldn't help but think of a scene from Alice in Wonderland. Alice is wandering alone, lost in the woods, when she meets up with a Cheshire cat and asks for directions. When the cat asks, "Where do you want to go?" Alice says, "I'm not quite sure." To which the cat replies, "Well then, any road will take you there." The reality is, our companies are full of folks like Alice. People who are not quite sure where they're going, and it's creating enormous drag. Our great mistake is that we assume that absent a plan of their own, they'll be happy to simply adopt ours, our goals, our values, our strategy as their own. Sometimes it works beautifully. We find that perfect fit, the culture carrier, and engagement follows. But too often, it doesn't. And we find ourselves laughing along to shows like The Office thinking, funny because it's true. If we're going to solve this problem, if we're going to solve engagement once and for all and create the performance lift we so desperately need, we need to insist that our Alices know who they are and where they want to go. We must insist that they can tell the story that they've always wanted to tell, that I love this job because it allows me to meet my goals in a manner consistent with my values. When they tell that story, we all win. Put another way, we need to insist that every member of our team has what I call a roadmap. Now, a good roadmap, it's going to tell you 3 things about a person: their goals, their values, and their top personal and professional priorities over the next 90 days. What's most important to them? Sadly, too many people just don't know. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they value. They don't know what to do. So instead, they turn to us for advice, development plans, performance reviews, failing to see that without a plan of their own, our advice as their manager, their boss, their friend is just a guess at best. Steve Martin had a roadmap. He spent over a decade getting booed off stage as he perfected his routine. Despite the jeers and catcalls, he kept at it night after night because, as he puts it, even the worst job becomes meaningful if you're convinced it's going to bring you closer to your dreams. It's time to solve the engagement problem once and for all. It's time to insist that every member of our team has a roadmap, knows what they need to do to move closer to their dreams. When they know that, we all win. Your engagement strategy is broken, but the good news is we know how to fix it. Let's solve this problem together. Let's solve this problem now.